Today I'm going to be doing a lab on beats. Before I get into my experiment, I'm going to just briefly go over how beats work. So you can get a beat whenever you play two tones that are close to each other in frequency, and what's going to happen is they're both going to constructively and destructively interfere with each other. So as you see here, these two waves are at different frequencies but fairly close, and their sum right here is going to produce from here. It's going to start to constructively interfere, and then it's going to start to destructively interfere from here to here, and then it's just going to repeat the cycle. And this is going to occur at a frequency called the beat frequency, which is what I'm going to be finding in my lab of two different tones I have. So down here, I have two different tone generators. One's at 750 hertz, and one's at 755. I'm going to play these tones, and I'm going to play on here is my stopwatch. I'm going to measure 10 seconds, and I'm going to count the amount of beats I can hear in that 10-second frame divided by 10, and that should give me a rough estimate of what the frequency is. I'm then going to plug it into my table here, which I already have two other trials I did before to save time on camera, and then I'm going to find the average of all three of those to get an even better estimate. And then finally, I'm going to compare that with the formula here to find the frequency of a beat using two tones. So I'm going to get this started, and I'm going to start the time. Alrighty. And I got roughly 52 beats. So I'm just going to plug that into here. Dividing that by 10 gives me 5.2 beats per second. Adding that into here. And I'm going to use my calculator, which I have right here. Is going to give me 4.96 repeating hertz or beats per second that I counted for my observed beat frequency. Now, the simpler way to do this, I guess, we could use this formula with F1. I'm going to let that be equal to 755, and then F2 will be let equal to 750. So this is just going to be equal to the absolute value of 755 minus 750. Oops, that's a 0. And that's just going to be 5 hertz is my calculated beat frequency. Using the equation, and as you can see, these are fairly close, so I did a pretty good job in counting in my experiment, and it does make sense because ultimately, I guess when you're listening, you can hear that there's roughly about 5 times you can hear that beat every second, so that makes sense. And that is the end of my lab. Thanks for listening.